Thorpe Park Resort in Chertsey is home to a grand spanking 25 rides and attractions, which came with a stupidly brilliant idea of ranking all of these from Lumber Jump to The Walking Dead. Excellent. That being said, I won't be including any of the walkthrough or interaction based attractions because these change like the angle of my spine after the first drop on Saw the Ride. So with that, you're watching ScrewyLoops and we are ranking every single ride at Thorpe Park from worst to best. Kicking this off is Angry Birds 4D Experience. Admittedly, I had a hard time debating whether this classes as a ride at all, but then I remembered those bloody seats love to catapult you to the other side of Amity Beach, so yeah, I guess it is. It's not terrible by any means, I'd just rather spend that 15 minutes whoring the likes of Lumber Jump, a ride which I've never actually seen any kids go on. In fact, the only people I've ever seen on it is me and Jack Grant. I've never seen him so happy. This Zamperla jumping star reaches heights of Digital Dan and drops at speeds of a loose article from King Pig's Wild Hog Dodgems. Who doesn't love a good bashing? There's not much to really say other than you're sat inside pigs, you get whiplash, and it's pretty much your standard dodgems, you know, unlike Storm in a Teacup. Where have I seen that before? Anyways, join Tetley T Man as he stirs up his favourite cuppa and hopes that one of you poor sod spews inside the brew. Of course, to give it that special Tetley T signature taste. Let's say this is definitely one to avoid after lunch. And so is this one, Zodiac, the Enterprise by Huss. Sounds like my kettle's boiled, so anyone for Tetley T? I'm just not a massive fan of these types of rides. Things that spin round and round and round and round and make me want to die. Plus it doesn't even reach 90 degrees anymore. It's about as enterprising as a timber tugboat, all hands on deck. Again, this is not particularly a bad ride, it's just really not my thing. You sit in a boat, you spin, you swing, you catch my drift. You know, I'm going to say it's a great filler kids ride in a park which isn't necessarily for kids. Send them to Chessington and give us an RMC for God's sake, please. Storm Surge. Oh yes, the much beloved water ride amongst the Thorpe Park fandom. Sorry Doc, I'm from 8 years in the future and I can tell you now, Storm Surge is very much alive and kicking. Sorry. Ghetto fairground aesthetic aside, I don't think Storm Surge is terrible. What I do think is terrible though, is the 90-minute queues throughout the heat of the summer. Just why? The ride itself is fairly harmless, I guess. It's just a bit of an eyesore on the capacity more like. Mr. Monkey's Bananaroid, an absolute Thorpe Park classic. So classic that this is the last remaining ride to be themed around the Thorpe Park Rangers, so there's certainly some nostalgia here. It swings but it doesn't make me spew, the theming is super colourful and it always makes for a good laugh with a group of friends. However, I can't say the same for Vortex. Think I might get a bit of hate for this one. Honestly, I keep forgetting this ride even exists. It's a KMG afterburner and the only thing that's burning is my acid reflux as I've been spun like a spider web. Maybe it's my weak stomach, but I just struggle to enjoy Vortex. It's all spin and barely any swing. I feel like Tarzan after a tequila or two with Kerchak. It's alright I guess, but I'm happy you're missing this one out. What I can't miss out on is Flying Fish. I mean, come on, you're sitting a fish with wings. This is the coolest ride ever. No, seriously, it's a guilty pleasure for me. I always aim to have at least one ride on this classic, just to give it the love it deserves. Does it belong at Thorpe Park? Not really, but it's becoming part of the furniture and the park won't be the same without it. Rocky Express. This was a big surprise. Another Mac classic. This train absolutely hauls around in a complete circle whilst trying to throw you sideways into the ride-up booth. It's actually great fun and one of the better kiddie attractions at Thorpe Park. Rumba Rapids at number 14, opened way back in 1987. Rumba Rapids is the second oldest ride at Thorpe Park, with the oldest being Flying Fish. It's your typical river raft affair, a bit bare and much more forgiving on the old wetness factor. Makes for a nice gentle segue between lunch and the likes of Quantum, the magic carpet which is barely ever open, but when it is, it's quite the underappreciated gem, I must say. It looks the part, plays the part, falls apart, with some surprisingly fun airtime during its short cycle. Shame the setting is on the tamer side, but it never fails to put a smile on my face, unlike Tidal Wave. I can feel my soggy undergarments chafing as we speak. This Hopkins ride Shoot the Shoots is the undisputed icon within the Isle of Thorpe Park, with a splash so egotistical that it selfishly ruins your shots of Swarm with an obnoxious offering of floating moist. New Sure, Tidal Wave is a spectacle. She looks fantastic, she steals the spotlight, and she's disgusting to ride. Seriously. With a drop so shallow it makes Lady Gaga cry, and with a splash so dense it makes the day after tomorrow look like a trickle at most. This ride gets you obscenely wet. I don't find it very fun. You probably might, but I do find depth charge to be an absolute blast. This is hands down my favourite water ride in the entire park, and one that doesn't get enough credit. Whether you just entered the park passing by Swarm or fleeing to Chessington, it's hard not to give this one a quick go. The queue makes for some good exercise, the slide makes for some friendly competition, and the splash is just wet enough to slap you in the chin without regretting your life. It might not have the visual appeal of Tidal Wave, but it's certainly more forgiving and generally fun to ride. So we have finally made it to the top 10 rides. How? And this is where my inner coaster enthusiast and inner theme park enthusiast clashes and things go a little bit tits up. So here we go. In our 10th spot, we have The Walking Dead The Ride. A peculiar blend of indoor family coaster, sinister theming, and loud noises. My god, that horn is terrifying. Without spoiling too much, Walking Dead isn't just your standard roller coaster affair. This is in fact wedged in between a fairly meaty pre-ride and post-ride segment, which unfortunately you cannot skip, so be prepared for that. The ride itself is not exactly exhilarating, but the combined experience provides some nice fright, atmosphere, and a few surprises here and there. It's not for everyone, but well worth a gander in my opinion. Colossus at number 9. Oh boy. Colossus was originally Thorpe Park's premier attraction. This intimate mega looper broke the inversion world record back in 2002, going upside down a total of 10 times. This was rather ambitious to say the least. What I do like about Colossus is its visual flair. I'm a sucker for that vibrant blue intimate track, although it has seen better days, and the theming is really nice too. What I'm really not a fan of, however, is those trains. Good lord, those trains are bad. They're claustrophobic, the restraints are clunky dunky junky, and my legs, where are they? Seriously, there's more legroom in the boot of a smart car. These trains are god awful. I don't find it quite as rough as what others make it out to be. Those barrel rolls make me want to spew, but I still like to give it a ride every once in a while, for some reason. So I had a dream last night, and at 8, I saw the ride. Get it? Saw the ride? Do you want to play a game? Or do you want to play Brokeback Eurofighter because the bottom of that drop feels like I'm being smacked by a 6-foot fridge? That being said, this is Saw we are talking about. It's all part of the experience, the pain, the tears, the torture, so we can cut it a bit of slack at least. The theming is fantastic. Everything from the shotguns hanging from the walls, diced up Testum is in the station, the cold demonic echo of screams. This is undoubtedly the best themed roller coaster in the park. I love the indoor section, the interaction with Billy, and there's an awesome pop of airtime on the outside. Just a shame the rest of the exterior layout suffers from dead spots and brutally rough jolts. It would have been a lot higher otherwise. Look into my eyes, look into my eyes, the eyes, not around the eyes, don't look around the eyes, look into my eyes, you're under. At number 7, it is not Darren Brown's ghost train, it's in fact my ghost train. Darren Brown does not exist, he is an illusion, you understand? This is my ghost train. 3, 2, 1... You're back in the room. Opened in 2016 to extremely mixed reviews, this £13 million blockbuster attraction didn't quite take off the way Thorpe wanted it to. It was met with delays, countless teething problems, and wait times of astronomical proportions. Within its opening year, Darren Brown's Ghost Train was considered to be a flop, and failed so hard they rebranded it just months later to Rise of the Demon. Edgy. You know what though? In its current state, it really isn't that bad. I really like Ghost Train when it's working well, which is much more frequently these days. Disclaimer, these days is in pre-pandemic before anyone comments. It's a really cool attraction that does some really impressive things, which I do not want to spoil, just experience it for yourself. It's good. In our 6th spot, we have Samurai, the Mondial Top Scan, which was relocated from Chessington World of Adventures of all parks. Why was this in a kids park? This ride is insane. You know me, I'm not a massive fan of flat rides, but I can say Samurai is pretty damn crazy. When it wants to be. I've had some fantastic rides on this on many occasions, but on others it just rags me around like a fat turtle. But when I do get a good ride, it really is good, and so unpredictable too, making re-rides an absolute must, which also goes for Rush. Why do you have to have such a short cycle? This ride is amazing. Built by S&S, this screaming swing boasts nothing but a lap bar, making you feel super exposed. And it's the basic ride mechanic of swinging back and forth which makes this so much fun. Who knew that rides could be fun? Damn. Whether it's a euphoric weightlessness as the swing peaks its highest point, or sense of speed as you swoop just inches from the ground, this ride is a blast, and it's over far too soon, sadly. Nemesis! That of one, you know, Inferno. Comparing the original to Inferno is always going to end up in tears, let's be honest. One's an absolute cult classic and the other is just a generic invert with the name Nemesis slapped onto it. But being generic isn't necessarily bad. Inferno can be a lot of fun. There's a great sense of speed and snappiness throughout the layout with some fantastic moments of leg chopper. Whilst not quite as blackout inducing as OG Nemesis, that vertical loop can be really bloody intense. It's silky smooth, the surrounding scenery is lush, and Inferno makes for some stunning night rides too. But you know what's more exciting in my opinion? Detonator bombs away. This is definitely the most terrifying ride in the entire park, and it's themed around a bunch of angry pigeons. This is London after all. This 115-foot Fabry drop tower might not look that big, but boy does it pack a punch. Unlike conventional drop towers, this one actually uses pistons at the top to physically launch you downwards rather than let gravity do all of the work. In turn, you are subjected to a hefty 7 of negative G's. Combine that with the insane leg gap on the restraints and you'll be kissing your ass goodbye until you hit the brakes with extreme positive force. It might not be one of the tallest, but Detonator is definitely one of the most intense drop towers in the UK. Such a buzz. Just missing out on that #1 spot is the Swarm, the B&M wing coaster which opened back in 2012. Wait, 9 years ago? We haven't had a new coaster in 9 years? What? Swarm screams quality, which is no surprise being the latest B&M to hit British shores. Whether it's the monstrous trains, monstrous elements, or monstrous carcass of a real-life plane skimming your head by 6 inches, this is easily one of Thorpe Park's most impressive attractions. The highlight moment for me has to be the bank turn across the lake. It is the most forceful segment of any coaster at Thorpe Park, and you can really feel it. My only complaint is that the layout is a tad short, but thankfully the throughputs are great, allowing for plenty of re-rideability. And if you haven't guessed it already, our #1 spot goes to Stealth, the UK's fastest roller coaster. Just don't try this at home, it's just not fun. With a launch that sends you from 0 to where's my pants gone in 1.9 seconds, Stealth is pretty damn fast. So fast in fact that if you don't keep your head back, you'll probably have no neck. Seriously though, Stealth is by far the biggest buzz you will get from any of the rides and roller coasters at Thorpe Park. It doesn't do much, but what it does do is fan-flipping-tastic, I must say. It goes fast, it goes high, and it goes hard, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I place Stealth as the #1 ride at Thorpe Park. Many thanks for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I just want to give a massive shout out to Mark Lewis for sending a lovely Christmas card and these awesome lanyards, as you can see right here. I'm really digging the Megaphobia one actually. I think this one might be taking over my Merlin Pass for the next year. We'll see. I think this one looks very nice. But this one's also really nice as well. Rollercoaster Club of Great Britain. What's it say? It ain't great without the laminate. Awesome stuff. So cheers for that, Mark, and hope to see you soon. I also want to give a shout out to Caitlin Izzet and everyone who continues to support me and the channel. It means so much. If you enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button, smash subscribe for more content like this, and give the bell a flick to keep all up to date. Videos on the left, merchandise on the right. Make sure to hit this button for the ride of your lives. You've been watching ScrewyLoops. Draw a bit. That didn't work out as planned.